Hello, friends. Welcome to my 12 weeks of Christmas series. I'm so excited to be bringing this to you guys again. This year is a little bit different. Normally, in the past few years, my 12 weeks of Christmas series, I've actually gone live on Facebook on Sunday mornings. I decided this year to pre-record the videos just because I know there's a few weekends coming up that I know I'm just not going to be available, and I would have had to pre-record those anyway. And so this time, my 12 weeks of Christmas will be completely pre-recorded, but you can access it anytime right here on YouTube. So I hope you guys enjoy it, though. I have some amazing projects coming up. I've actually been working on this for a while. I'm on week 1. We're kicking it off today, and I already have about 7 weeks planned. So I'm super excited. This is going to be a great series this year, so I can't wait to share it with you. We are kicking things off today with this beautiful little wreath ornament. Now, you can use this as a tag, too. I think this would be really cute, like on a wine bottle. You can use it as an ornament. You can actually attach this to a card. You can put this on a scrapbook page. You can do whatever you want with it. There is a space on the back. Let me flip it over. So if you do want to write a little message, if you're attaching this to a gift or to a bottle of wine or something, you can write a little message on the back. But this is so cute. It's not too complicated. I really think you can mass produce these. The hardest part is going to be all the die cutting, and even that, because we're not die cutting any images or anything, you can just run those through pretty quickly. So let me show you the products that we're using, and then we'll jump into how we made this. Okay, so the stamp set that we're using, we are doing a little bit of stamping, just not any of the die cutting. We're using the seasonal tags. I'm using the Merry Christmas, but you can really mix and match this. If you have another greeting that you want to use, by all means, use those. All right, now then we're using a couple of die sets. We are using the Stylish Shapes, which I use all the time. I absolutely love the Stylish Shapes. We're using the largest circle and the second largest circle, I believe. I think we're using the 2 largest circles for this. And then the other die set that we're using is the Snowy Delights dies. This one is new. This one is an online exclusive, I believe. And we are using this die right here. We're using this one, and you're going to die cut 3 each of the colors. I'm going to show you those in a minute, but this is the full die set. It is a beautiful, beautiful die set. And I do have a class to go featuring this bundle, the Snowy Delights bundle. The Snowy Delights bundle actually comes with a stamp set, the dies, and masks. And I have a class to go right now that I will actually link in the video description if you want to check that out. It's a Christmas Stamp-A-Stack wall, or you can change the greetings and use them to make all occasion cards. But it is featuring that bundle, and I'll leave the details below. It's 12 cards, 2 each of 6 designs. They're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cards. You'll get $30 in product with the class. So if you're interested in that, check the link below. All right, now I have done all the die cutting in advance, so let me show you what I die cutted. So I die cut 3 garden green snowflakes with that little snowflake die that I showed you. So 3 in garden green and 3 in granny apple green. Now you can really mix and match these. If you want to use different greens, that's fine. If you want to make a different colored wreath, if you want to make this look more like a snowflake and not like a wreath, you can do like blues or purples, really pretty colors. But that's with the Snowy Delights. You're going to need 3 of each color. With the Stylish Shapes dies, I have a basic white circle. This is the largest circle. And then out of gold foil, I used the largest circle and the next largest circle, and I die cut them together to make a little, to make a ring for the outside. And then this will actually be our piece that we stamp. So we're actually going to start with the stamping because we're doing some heat embossing. So let's do that first. I'm going to move these out of the way. And you'll see on this one, I've already looped my my linen. Is it linen thread? No, it's baker's twine. This is the black and white gold baker's twine. I've already looped that around to make my little loop for my little ornament here. So let's get to the stamping. So I'm gonna pull out. We're doing heat embossing, like I said. So I'm gonna pull out my Versamark pad. I'm gonna pull out my stamps. We're also doing the Christmas right here on a piece of basic black, so I have that. And then I'm going to pull out my embossing buddy. Now the embossing buddy comes in our embossing toolkit. It's just like a little powder-filled bag. It reduces the static. Now on the gold piece, because foil has a tendency to really attract embossing powder, I'm really going to make sure that this is nice and covered. We're going to be able to wipe off any excess powder But for the gold piece, it's a little bit tricky to emboss on slippery things like foil. So I just want to make sure that we don't have any instances where any embossing powder is going to stick. So let's move that one aside. I'm going to pull down this one just a little bit so I can get to it a little easier. We're going to ink this up in Versamark, and I'm going to stamp this kind of right in the center. Now, when you're stamping on something that's a little bit slicker, like a foil, you just want to go straight down and straight up. Do not press too hard on your stamp. Do not wiggle your stamp, because especially photopolymer, I found that they kind of slide nice and easily on the foils, and then you are stuck with like a smudged greeting, and we don't want that. All right, I have my white embossing powder. I like to keep them in these little containers here. So I think you can see that because I had a lot of powder on there. You can actually see the stamping. Typically you can't see Versamark, but I'm going to sprinkle the powder on, and you can see like that powder, even with that embossing buddy, is really sticking. So I'm just going to give this a few little good flicks. That'll get most of it off. If you still have some, you can use a paintbrush and brush it off, but I think we did a good job. All right, let's do the same with our black. Now for the, let me get that right along the bottom. For the black, because it's just cardstock, it's not as slippery, not as temperamental as foil, so it's super easy to do the black. All right, let's close this up so we don't end up with an embossing powder volcano. And I'm gonna put the lid on my ink pad, and we're going to grab our heat tool. I'm going to heat it off to the side for just a second. Takes about 10 to 15 seconds for it to really get nice and hot. So I'm going to wait for it to get warm. And you're just going to hover it over the stamping and the embossing powder. Once you see that embossing powder start changing to a shiny white, you just want to keep it moving. And then that's how you know that it's done. I hope you guys saw that transformation. Beautiful, right? All right, now for this one, I'm going to use my tweezers. The tweezers also come in the embossing editions kit. And we're just going to hover this along. It's going to go pretty fast because it's nice and hot. All right, perfect. So you can see how beautiful is that on the foil. Oh, so pretty. Okay, I'm going to let that cool down, and then we're going to wipe off all that powder. Okay. We'll let those just kind of sit off to the side and cool down a little bit, and we will start working on our wreath part. So I'm going to actually glue everything to this little ring here. So oops, not that piece. Let's get our snowflakes. What we're going to do first is we're just going to start trimming up the snowflakes. Let me see. I want little sections of 3. I'm trying to think which. So I'm just going to trim them apart. Just kind of like that. I just want little sections of 3. Just like that. And then you may have, you'll have, sections of 2 extra, but that's okay. We can fill those in later. But let's go through. Let's cut 2 at a time. Since they're all the same exact thing. You just kind of line them up. We'll cut 2 at a time here. Get my scissors in there. Just like that. You can do this project. This would be a great one to get kids involved with. This is a really, really good one. I think, where did those 2 go? Well, we'll find them later. Okay. All right, let's get all of our granny apple green ones. Cut. Let's see if we can do 3 at a time here. We'll see. Okay. I should have done some of this in advance, but why work in advance, right? Okay, there we go. And 3, and 3. Okay. All right, now there's a couple of different ways that you can adhere these on. Now you're gonna have lots of these little pieces. So you should have, between those 3, those 6 snowflakes total, you should have plenty of them. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this. You can use liquid glue, or you can use glue dots. I'm actually gonna show you with both so that you can kind of get an idea of both of them. Now, if you have kind of like wonky little edges like this, oh look, this one has 4. Did I mess up one of those cuts? All right, if you have little wonky edges, you can trim those off. Most of them will be hidden, although I do want to, let's see if we can make these just a little neater. So a lot of it will be hidden underneath the bigger circle, so I'm not too worried about that. But if you want, you can trim them. So I just put glue just kind of right on the bottom edge, and I'm just going to go through and just kind of stick these down. And I'm starting at the top where my little hanger is, and that way I know, you know, where will be a full circle, I guess. I mean, it doesn't matter where you start. You'll wind up back in the same place. Now, if you don't want to deal with messy glue, which I totally understand, you can grab your glue dots and just grab a glue dot. If it wants to be picked up, there we go. Pick it up from the bottom and then just kind of lay it down and go in a circle. That one I didn't trim the little wonky edges off, but that's okay. It's still gonna all work out. So you can go through with a glue dot. You can also put adhesive all over the, well, actually I wouldn't do that because you can see there's, I was gonna say just run adhesive around, but you can see there's lots of exposed spaces, so you don't wanna do that. So whatever you're most comfortable with. If you're most comfortable with the glue dots, use the glue dots. If you're more comfortable with the liquid glue, use the liquid glue. But you're just going to go all the way around. This is going to take a minute, so, you know, talk amongst yourselves. Let's just go around. And so coming up for the 12 weeks of Christmas, let's see. I have a gift card holder coming next week. I'm very excited. I love this gift card holder. It's one of my favorites. I won't have any treat boxes until probably we get past Halloween because a lot of places just don't have the Christmas candies out right now. So until we can get past Halloween, I probably will not have any Christmas boxes. But I do have some Christmas boxes all sketched out and planned and ready to go. So fear not, if you don't see the boxes right away, they're coming. So I'm really excited about those. I have some amazing fun fold cards this year. So lots of really fun things happening in this year's 12 weeks of Christmas. So just make your way all the way around. I'm just alternating the Granny Apple Green and the Garden Green. Now, depending on how many different colors you cut out, if you wanted to go with multiple shades of green, you can absolutely you know, alternate 3 or 4 different kinds of greens. I like to keep it, I kept mine simple with just a couple different greens, but you could really go crazy with this, really. But just kind of stay along the little line there, the little liquid glue. I love the liquid glue, and once it sets up, it'll set up forever, guys, this Tombow glue, but sometimes getting it to stick, especially to the foil, is a little bit tricky, but it'll work. You just gotta give it a sec. I'm kind of rushing this because I don't want you guys to watch me glue these down for 25 minutes, so I'm kind of going through this a little bit quicker than I probably normally would, but this would be such a fun activity to get some of your kids' friends together, or get some girlfriends together. You can do like a whole Christmas craft night. This would be a really cute one to do. All right, so we've made it back around. Now, if you have any spots that you feel like need to be filled in, see if I glued this to my table. If you have any spots that need to be filled in, you can absolutely do that now. I think it actually looks really good. And we didn't even use all of our pieces. We still have a few pieces left. So I think we did pretty good. So let me put the glue away. All right, we're gonna let this set up and dry for just a second. I'm gonna stick this off to the side while that dries, and we'll come back and bring this over. So let's go ahead, now that this is nice and cool, we can just wipe this off. If you have like a tissue or a paper towel, you can even do that. Just give this a good wipe, and all that powder is gone. You can see that gorgeous embossing. All right, let's trim our little greeting out here. I just want this to be the height and the width of the words. Just like that. And we are going to use some dimensionals, of course. Let's stick on our little words here. I'm going to cut one of these in half. Where'd my scissors go? Let's cut a dimensional in half, and I'm going to put it on the end of the greeting here. And I'm going to leave the front part of the greeting without any adhesive because that's going to hang off just a little bit. So peel off the dimensional backings there. And then we're just going to stick this on. Merry Christmas. You can do Happy Holidays. You can do whatever you want. Merry Christmas. All right, let's bring back our wreath. Now the outside of this wreath, the little gold ring that we used is the exact same size as our white die. So this one's going to get glued on right over here just to cover up any imperfections. But I want to do that with dimensionals. So I'm actually going to use the edge piece right here of my dimensionals. We'll use a couple little edge pieces. I'm going to peel off the backing so it's sticky on both sides, but that will make it like maneuverable. And I'm just going to kind of twist it around. Now, if any of it shows on the inside, don't worry, that's all going to be covered up. So I'm not worried about anything poking out on the inside. I'm going to grab another piece of the edge here and kind of wrap it this way this time. And then let me see if I can just get one more little piece for over here. You don't need to cover the whole thing. I'm just covering up a fair amount of it because this is something that, you know, may be used for a couple of years, and so you want this to stay together. So you want to make sure that you're using some good quality adhesive. All right, so now that we have all those dimensionals on, sticky side up, we're just going to line this circle right over that circle so you have a nice clean finish. And we're going to flip this over and we're going to stick this piece on with dimensionals too. So I'm going to actually just put a bunch on the inside here. Put one more right here. We're going to peel off those backings and then we're going to put this on. Make sure you have your little loop at the top so everything lines up nice and straight. The circle was die cut directly from the inside of that one, so it's going to fit perfectly right inside there. And so now you don't see any of those imperfections in the middle. Isn't that gorgeous? You're going to have this little hanging. Perfect. Okay, we have a couple of little finishing touches to put on. I have a double bow that I have tied with our, let me get down the ribbon so I get the right name of it. This is our, what is this called? Mossy Meadow and Gold Trim. It's gorgeous ribbon. I love it, and it's perfect for something like this because it's nice and festive for sure. I'm going to use a glue dot. A glue gun might actually hold this better, especially if you want this like to last for a few years. I would maybe use a glue gun, but a glue dot's going to hold that just fine. We're just going to stick that to the bottom right of the greeting. And then just to finish it off, I just wanted a little pop of color. So we're going to add some strawberry slush pearls. So these are the new in color pearls. They're in our annual catalog. They came out back in May when the annual catalog was released, but these are our new colors this year. And so we're going to do just little clusters of 3, and I'll do 3 clusters of 3. Just kind of stick them on. Let's see, maybe one down here. And let's see, we'll put that one right there. And we'll put one more right here. And then we'll do one more cluster, I think up here. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's do that one. That one. Your take your pick tool is really going to be your hero for adhering little embellishments like this. I love it. It's one of my favorite uses for the take your pick tool. All right, and that is it. Isn't it gorgeous? This would make a great tag. This would make a great ornament. This would make a great like wine bottle decoration. It would just be so stunning. You could hang this in your office. You can hang it on a doorknob. You can do so many things. It's so pretty, so festive, and we did that out of snowflakes. So really fun, right? All right, guys, that is it for week 1 of the 12 weeks of Christmas. I'll be back next week for week 2. And then I also have I have a whole class to go series of videos posting this week as well. So there's going to be a lot on my YouTube channel this week. So make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you never miss a video. And then I will see you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for my kickoff for the Jolly Delivery class to go. And I will see you guys next week for week 2. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.